Alleluia. Om Mani Padme Om. Allah Satnam.
Welcome. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with Genevieve Marie. Genevieve, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure, Norm. Thanks for asking.
Now you're from Mauritius.
I am.
That's a very Catholic country. It was in those days.
It was back in the days, yeah.
So you were born a Catholic.
Yes, I was born a Catholic in a very devout Catholic family, if you like. So I went to Catholic primary school as well. So that was a big discovery and a journey to learn about God.
And so it was a fairly intense. You weren't just a Sunday school.
No, not just a Sunday Catholic. Intense, yes, but happily intense.
Happily, yes.
Maybe I'm an intense person when it comes to God, but I loved the teachings and the way we practice our faith.
Right.
You know, and since you do it with the family,
yes,
and not just our family, but the greater family, that makes it really special.
So a lot of was it with the traditional holidays for saints and what is birthdays?
Yes, and all of that, and just every occasion that's got a spiritual or religious meaning. The whole family stops to observe that, and I really enjoyed that. I'm grateful for my mother, in particular, for not only talking to me about it, but actually practicing it herself. Yes. And seeing the calm in her and the joy in her, no matter what was going on around. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching that. So it was something that was very useful, that education.
It laid a rich basis for your spiritual awareness.
And there's the discipline also, the discipline of praying or fasting and things that you do, understanding that's been part of a religion.
In Mauritius, are there big cathedrals? There's a lot of that?
Yeah, there's cathedrals and churches. But what's really interesting, where I lived, there was all the other religions around us as well. So a call to prayer for the Muslims was done over the loudspeaker. So we all heard the call of prayer in the morning. That was just part of what you heard. Yes. And beside my primary school was a Hindu temple. However, we weren't really encouraged to find out about other religions.
Right.
They were there, the Buddhists were there, the Muslims were there, the Hindus were there, but I didn't know anything about them. Okay. And because I went to a Catholic school, none of my friends practiced anything else or knew anything else. So I guess interfaith was my education down the track, or way down the track, but it was around me at that early age.
Yes, so you actually saw the people living their style of life.
Yes, and well, I like food, so when there's a holiday with the other religions, say the Chinese New Year, we used to get mooncakes, so I go, okay, that's what they're celebrating. And when the Hindus had particular ones, you got one, and the Muslims as well. So I knew, but I didn't really know that much. We didn't really ask, so get your cake and off you go.
That's an interesting thing about food, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the cultural implications of that. Okay, well, were you a Catholic when did you come to Australia? How long ago was it?
I came when I was 11.
11, okay.
Yeah, so it's 72, I think, we came over here. And different lifestyle, more freedom here, bit different. Not everyone went to church, we noticed. Went to Catholic. I went to a government school when I came here, so we didn't go to church as part of the education. And I don't think in our high school we had religious education. I don't think that was part of the curriculum. So we just kept going on Sundays and kept doing things, with the family, and that was fine,
Yes, that must have been a bit of a shock, though.
Culture shock.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
Very
yes.
different. Just how you relate to other people. It was just a very different, but good learning curve.
You had English, did you?
Well, our version of English.
Yes. yes.
So I didn't understand why people didn't quite understand me. It takes a little while to sort of get that language happening.
Yes.
But, it takes a couple of years and then you're good. And when you watch other migrants coming after you, you sort of watch them go through the same process.
Yes.
You can tell their clothes is a little bit different. The language, people still notice I have an accent now, so it's still there. People speak differently, they wear different clothes, they might eat different food at the school, and you just pick up on that, and then people just mix. Yeah.
So you continued on as a Catholic?
Yes, yep.
And then what happened?
Kept going. I had a few questions, and I asked Mum, I can't remember what the questions were at that time, but Mum said, it's a mystery. And I said, okay, I know it's a mystery, but I still want to know what that is and what that means. So I just kept going. And then an odd thing happened. By this time, I got married. I had some children, moved to the country. And I had a bit of a medical condition, if you like. I had a sore throat, and that wouldn't go away. Antibiotics wouldn't do it. And I thought, that's a bit unusual, because I'm usually a healthy person. And I met a friend of mine and said, you need a Reiki. And I said, okay. She said, I'll come around this afternoon. So I'm sort of cleaning the house for her to arrive, and I'm thinking, but what is a Reiki? Didn't have Google in that day, so I couldn't Google it. And she comes across, and she comes over and she says, now just lay down and relax. And I said, what is it that you're going to do? And she said, I'm just going to lay my hands on you, and, it should help. Well, that was probably a life-changing moment because... And I remember writing about it. I wrote, I felt God. It was something touched my heart that felt divine, and I really couldn't tell the source. It wasn't that person.
No.
It came through her, but it wasn't her. And so I guess it started me thinking there might be something else for me.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Right.
So, of course, I went to explore Reiki, and I started to do Reiki myself, and that was great. And I met up with a cousin, and she was in a different religion. I didn't know what it was.
And we will know what it was.
Okay.
We'll go to a break. We don't want to go through that. We'll pick it up.
Okay.
Thanks, Genevieve. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and we're speaking with Genevieve Marie. And I interrupted you, Genevieve, and you were telling us about Reiki and the effect it had on you. And you were saying something about your cousin having some special experience.
Yes, my cousin had left the Catholic Church, I think maybe 5, maybe 7 years before, and she wanted to meet up with me, so we did. And she told me about the religion she was in, and that religion is Eckankar. I've never heard of it. She gave me some brochures. I put it in the drawer and just didn't worry about it. I thought I'll get to it later. And then I had a dream. And in Eckankar, dreams are important. Important source of information from the divine. In the dream, my arm and her arm are linked. I don't understand the meaning of it. And I'll ring her up and I say, oh, this happened. Because she didn't say much about it, but I felt something important had happened spiritually.
Yes.
And a little while later, I had an experience that left no doubt in my mind that I was to leave where I was spiritually, which was a Catholic church, and join Eckankar. So I did that, and that was 22 years ago now.
22 years ago, right. And that experience looked like, how did that go?
It was a surprise. I was putting my youngest child to sleep, and as I was laying there, our spiritual master, we have a spiritual master in Eckankar, and he appeared, And when he appeared, not only was I not scared, but he felt like an old friend, someone I trusted with all my heart and with my life. And he just said something quite simple. He said, "Go and do the hue." Now, I didn't really know what the hue was. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to do that. My cousin was visiting. So I went downstairs and said, "I would like to do the hue." She didn't seem surprised, I don't know why. And we went and did the hue. And the hue is a chant like Om. Except just hue, that's how you chant it out loud. I didn't even know how. I said, how do you
do it?
And, you know, we were talking about bad voices. I don't think I can sing very well. She says, don't worry about your tone, just sing it.
Yes.
And just keep God in your heart as you sing it. And so when I did that, that changed everything. So after that I joined.
Now, so there's a parallel between Reiki opened you to a sense of some other.
Yes, that's it. That's what Reiki did.
And then the who, did that stitch that together for you, didn't it?
So I guess Reiki was the bridge. Because then we're talking about fences around certain people.
Yes.
As a Catholic, I wasn't going to step outside that. But because I got sick and had Reiki, it was like, oh, there might be something beyond that.
More, yes.
And then after that, of course, divine plan is I meet my cousin, we talk about that, I have my inner experience, and then I don't doubt, and I just take a step. I'm happy to do that. My mother wasn't very happy, but that's okay.
Yes, I'm sure she wasn't. Yes. So the master that appeared, is that the current master?
Yes. So we have a living master, and his name is Shrew Harold Clamp, and he writes books and, you know, speaks at seminars. But his important function is as an inner master. We have big beliefs in dreams, and so we call him the dream master, and so that's where the inner guidance come from.
So the inner guidance comes through dreams. Is that exclusively?
Yeah, it comes through, no, not just dreams, it comes at any time. It comes in very funny way. If you're wondering what to do about a certain something, someone with a t-shirt might appear with the answer on that, or a bus will go by with an answer on that. Or you're watching a movie and there'll be certain words that you need to hear. You'll hear there. You'll know that the inner master has sent you that message. Yes. And it will send it in whichever way is comfortable for you.
Yes, some parallels in this with some people's attachment to what they call the higher power.
Yes.
They see doing the same
thing. That's right. Now, in my experience, nothing new. Everybody in history has had you know, conversation with God, if you like, either through a master or directly. But in the past, they haven't always had good endings. And in this day and age, I guess it's more accepting that people can have a direct contact with God.
That's very interesting, Genevieve, and it opens up the potential that I think the whole Eckankar religion as such deserves to be looked at in greater detail. Would you be able to come back next week and we could talk about Eckankar?
I would love to.
Thanks very much, because you're also the chairperson of the Kingston Interfaith group. So I'd like to do a little bit of a discourse on that.
Yeah.
How did you become involved in that?
Well, I was at my mum's house. She had a calendar, and at the back of it, it had interfaith, and I didn't know what that meant, so I made a phone call, and I got invited in, I didn't realise, for an interview. And then I was accepted on the committee.
Oh, right. Right, so they sort of ambushed you.
Well, it was a pleasant surprise. And, you know, I was told, okay, the next meeting is next month, we'll see you then. So I've been there for 3 years now.
3 years. And what's the range of religions that they have on the committee?
I think we have a nice mix. We have someone from Hare Krishna, someone from Sai Baba, who else have we got? Church of Christ, Catholic, Islam, Sufi, Baha'i.
Baha'i, right, okay.
And myself. I think that's everyone covered. Yeah.
That's quite a rich group.
Yes, and that always makes planning events very interesting, because we have different viewpoints, but we've learned respect along the way.
Yes, yes. That's So with managing a group like that, you need to be paying respect to so many different perspectives, as you said.
Yes.
Perhaps we could talk, and we'll do it after the break, but talk about how you manage that, how you're able to bring people into a place where they can share common ground without treading on the more sensitive parts of the whole issue, which for an interfaith group is a major problem.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and we're speaking with Genevieve Marie. And Genevieve, we're in the process of talking about communications between some 8 or so religions on the interfaith group.
Yeah.
You had an example in a conversation we were having earlier about peace.
Yes. I'm not sure if it was last year. I think it might have been the year before. It was around World Peace Day. And the suggestion, we have a dinner around pray for peace, for world peace. And as an ECUS, I raised a small issue, but an issue of the same. Although we understand world peace is what everyone desires, because of karmic reasons, sometimes that's not possible. So what I mentioned was, what about we talk about inner peace leading to outer peace?
Yes.
That way you don't interfere in anyone's karma, and for yourself, you are peaceful with your surroundings and how it works. And look, the committee was great. And we probably didn't have a long debate about it. They sort of understood, and it's not that we're not praying for peace. That's going to be the ultimate aim, if you like. But how we go about it is through your own inner thing. So it went well. We had a great dinner. We had different speakers, and everyone, of course, presented their own viewpoint.
Yes.
So it's not that you can't present your own viewpoint, but when you present a program, I believe every faith needs to be in agreement with how it's presented, what's presented, you know.
So in that exchange, people would have been seen and had an insight into an ECUS's view of that.
That's right.
What sort of lessons have you learnt from other religions, other members of the group? Has there been anything that sort of stood out and said to yourself, I really like that way of seeing things?
Well, I always have respected other people's viewpoint, not only on religion, but on everything. I believe you're entitled to your own thoughts and ideas. And for me, when we can work together and everybody wins in a way, it's ideal. You know, it's ideal. So, you know, everybody's viewpoint is valuable and valid.
Yeah, so that's the main lesson, is to hold up the fact that everybody's viewpoint is valid and respected.
Respected.
Yes,
and everybody's heard. Everyone's got a voice. So I can be a little bit strict when we have our meetings. When someone speaks, we have to listen.
Let them speak.
Give them their time. Which is, you know, very interesting.
Now, the interfaith group, you run various functions, don't you? So you recently did an art. Was it an art exhibition?
Yes, last July we had an art exhibition. I think it's our second or third year, and it's held in Mordialloc at St Nicholas Church. And the whole public schools around the area, they're invited to submit a piece of work in whatever form, and a little quote down the bottom, and that's what people find most interesting.
Yes.
So if your viewpoint of God, how do you view God, and a little quote from your Bible, and it's wonderful. It runs for a whole month during July, and you know, people come down. We have an opening, then we have a Sunday where we have a speaker, and some of the artists are interviewed. I really love it. It's really interesting.
Do you find all of the religions are represented in something
Yes,
like that? Or is it
and
mainly-
you know what I enjoyed was this year. When we started, it was a particular way. I noticed because the committee members helped put up the artwork, the artists drop it off, we put it up. I noticed it's almost like the committee could put Buddha next to Jesus, next to Allah on the wall without thinking too much about it now. You know, it's become just a painting, just an expression, and I've enjoyed watching that.
Yes.
I noticed that at the last time. You know, it was very relaxed and easy, and it really didn't matter who it was. It was just, it had the right to be on the wall.
Yep, respect.
Yeah,
once again,
respected,
as you said. Yes. You do these bus tours that you mentioned.
Yep.
What's the purpose of those?
Okay, well, Dandenong Interfaith have been doing bus tours for a very long time, very successfully. I've been on a couple myself. And, you know, I said, what about Kingston? You know, maybe we don't have the big mosques or the big temples, but we have a few, you know, around. And so Kate Daddo, our council worker, ever so supportive. I said, all right, we'll organise a bus. We'll see which churches would like to take part. And then we ran a couple of those, and that's just people gathering together on the bus, going to 4 different places of worship and having a 45-minute introduction, question and answers.
Okay.
Yeah. So not only are you hearing about it, you're sitting in that space, you can ask questions, you can look around and feel the love, I guess.
Good. What's the person who's doing the presentation? Is that like in a Christian church, the minister or the priest?
Yeah, it could be. Yes, usually it is a priest, but it can be someone who works, you know, with the church, for the church, and it can be. It doesn't need to be a priest, but usually is. Yeah.
So, have you got anything planned at the moment for the future?
Let's see. We're starting off. I think we did our planning meeting just at the last meeting. So, tree planting is on the agenda. Has been for the last couple of years, and that's a lot of fun. We have the art exhibition. That's always happening. We're having a dinner next month, I believe, and then sometimes we have a breakfast, sometimes we don't, and we'll probably have a bus tour in there.
Right. So it's a reasonably full book.
It is, and I like it to be hands-on. I like it to be interactive, and so that's why, you know, you can participate. You know, in the art exhibition, you can. In the tree planting, you can as well. So I like that.
So that's people working together.
Working together. Yeah.
Look, I mentioned earlier, Eckankar, we'll need to talk, or we should talk more about that.
Okay.
So if we can organise it for you to be here next week.
Sure.
And we'll devote that time to speaking about the Eckankar religion.
I'd love to.
That would be really good. Thanks very much. You've been watching Harmony and Diversity, and next week we'll be speaking again with Genevieve Marie. Thanks for watching.
Baha'u'llah, Shanti Om.